Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the BruWings and Things podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee, and I'm here as usual with Cameron and Alex on this fine Sunday evening. If you are watching on YouTube, you'll see that Cameron has two different jerseys going on
Two very
here.
conflicting jerseys, honestly.
It actually looks really ugly when you put it together, so I
They're
kind
both
of get why people roast us.
they're both 8 though. 888 and 8. Anyway, I'm wearing a New York Giants jersey because I just went to Miami to watch the Giants score 3 field goals. I paid like so much money to go watch them kick 3 field goals and then drove back and then I got yelled at multiple times by the Dolphin fans and it was
And you
not
drove how far overall?
like 8 hours today.
Eight,
After
eight, eight,
drive
eight, eight.
Yeah, yeah. After driving like 5 hours yesterday, going to a wedding, and now I'm here. So
Well,
I'm
you are
tired.
just a world traveler. I'm glad you can make it back for episode 7, though. That was the highlight of your day, I'm sure.
I'm sure this is about to be the highlight of my day.
Alex, how are you doing with the Red Wings winning yet again and your Lions winning?
Yeah, I'm doing great. My teams haven't lost in a week and a half, so I'm feeling really, really good.
The city of champions.
Yep,
Look at him
that's
all cocky now.
Yeah,
exactly what it is. Yeah, Michigan's good.
there's actually
Uh,
joy in his eyes for once.
the Red Wings are on a 5-game win streak for the first time in 2 years. They're 4 games over 500 for the first time since 2016. Life is good.
Alex decided to tell us the other day that the Red Wings have as good of a chance making the playoffs as the Bruins do missing the playoffs. And
According to Dom Luszczyszyn's, what I forget how to say his last name.
nobody
Uh,
knows how to say it.
Dom last name.
Dom at the Athletic.
Yeah, Dom last name at the Athletic. His according to his model, they have as good a chance of making the playoffs as the Bruins do missing, and one of those teams is in a playoff spot right now, pretty comfortably.
Well, it's the first week of December, so let's not get carried away. I mean, I definitely would like to see some changes with the Bruins, and I definitely am interested and to see what will happen if Tuca comes back and see where everything goes by the end of the year. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I will admit I'm not too happy. I just don't want to see Alex bragging. So I got to
Sorry,
push him back down real quick.
sorry about it.
I'm just kidding. I'm actually happy for you because I think you deserve joy too.
Well, thank you.
Wow,
Just because
that's a
you're
really nice. That's a nice thing anyone's
Red
ever
Wings
said to him.
fans are people too, I guess.
Red Wings fans have feelings. But anyways, we do have some stories we want to get to. One of our most recent subjects came up just the other day. We found out that Jack Eichel is officially skating in a Golden Knights practice jersey. I believe he's in a no contact sweater right now, but he has been seen skating in North Carolina. So he is at a facility in North Carolina skating. As you guys know, the Golden Knights have not been performing up to par. This has definitely been one of their worst starts in recent history. They did have a lot of injuries, so obviously that has plagued them a lot. But honestly, I think when they're all healthy, they are definitely a contender. I think they will make the playoffs. They just need some time. Do you guys think that Jack Eichel is the missing piece, or do you think the Golden Knights just don't have it after repeatedly kind of, I don't want to say being a disappointment, but they just haven't made it as far. They made one cup final and they're constantly in everyone's Stanley Cup bracket for a final year after year, but they just can't really get there. So, Cam, do you think Jack Eichel is definitely what they need going forward? Do you think he's going to add to that first line and be the solution?
Well, to be fair, they are a what 5-year-old team now, something like that. Like they really shouldn't have been as good as they were. like the way Seattle's playing now is about how everyone expected them and wanted them to play. And then everyone got so excited because they were so good. And now they're I mean, I know the injuries and stuff, but now they're playing like a 5-year-old team would play and everyone's like the franchise is over. Will they survive in Vegas? I don't know. They got to move like everyone's like counting them out, but I just think you got to give them time like they need they definitely do need better players. And I think Jack Eichel obviously is one of those players. I don't know if he's the last piece where they could go deep, like another cup final with, but I think it'll definitely help them out a lot. just because when they got the players, like I know that they've done a lot of trading and stuff. Like it's hard to keep a team good when you keep getting like average players almost. So they got all the unprotected players essentially, and I know they traded a lot of that away, but you can only get so much for those players as well. So having these superstars and having Jack Eichel come to the team, I think is going to be a big help, and I really do think it's going to push them. I think maybe this season it could push them into the playoffs, and then once they get some chemistry together with all the guys, maybe next year, I think they're going to be really good again.
Yeah, I mean, they were saying, like all the insiders were saying that that top line, it's going to be Pacioretty, Eichel, and Mark Stone. That's definitely going to be one of the best first lines. Could rival the Bruins first line, the Leafs first line. They were up there, so I think that's definitely something because they didn't have a first line center up until the Eichel signing, and I think Leonard's doing good enough if he trends the same way he's been trending. Everyone had their doubts with Fleury leaving, but Fleury's a great goaltender. He definitely, or I'm sorry, Leonard is a great goaltender. He definitely could keep. So is Fleury, but it's not going well for him this year, but understandably so. But Leonard is a great goaltender. He definitely is doing fine with the starting job. So, Alex, I'm just curious, what do you think is going to happen when Eichel joins? Do you think it's like too little, too late? Do you think that's definitely the number one thing that they need?
I think it depends when he joins. It may be too late in the season if it's after the Olympic break, which is still the speculation. Even though he is skating, it's still the speculation that they're going to hold him out at least till the Olympic break is over, just because they don't want to push it. Um, it really depends. I mean, having a first line center, having an actual anchor down the middle helps. I mean, Chandler Stevenson's been doing the best that he can, but I think that whole team is kind of just treading water right now. An interesting thing to look at if you're looking at whether or not they're going to make the playoffs is like the Sharks and the Ducks, who are overperforming by far where anybody really expected them to be. Um, I think those are the teams that Vegas is going to have to fight for that third spot with. Um, if they're going to get in at this point, I think it's with a wild card spot, and then anything can happen. Eichel's a good enough player to make a dynamic difference for this team, especially when you put him next to guys like Pacioretty and Mark Stone. But it may be too late for them to completely salvage the season. It'll be a really fun last like 3 weeks of the season to see, but I don't think anybody can really predict what exactly is going to happen at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned the Olympics, so I kind of wanted to touch on that. Do you guys think we're going to have an Olympics this year? Because everything kind of started out great. You know, so many players finally got vaccinated, except for Tyler Bertuzzi.
Yep.
Blackwood on the Devils got vaccinated, which we all had a round of applause for him, and that happened. But yeah, things are kind of going in a downward trend and going backwards from what we had hoped. And I mean, we're already in December. The Olympics are not far away at all. So do you guys see us having an Olympics happening? I mean, I kind of don't feel like I mean, the Islanders just had games postponed like a week ago. Tyler Bertuzzi's in protocol right now. I know there's a bunch of players right now, even I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, but it's something that's going in that direction. So I don't know. Do you guys think that we're gonna have an Olympics this year that we were so excited for?
It is tough, and also like with the new, what is it called, Omicron?
Omicron,
Omicron, like the superpower.
it's a Greek letter. They're
new
all Greek letters. They've all been Greek letters.
The new Pokemon that just dropped.
Yeah.
It just sounds, sorry, it sounds funny. It's not funny.
Pokemon Go, catch the Omicron variant.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Don't catch the Omicron variant. Well, anyway, it's like
Don't catch them all.
like starting to go into Europe, and like Austria's locked down. Like, all these countries are like Germany's really tough right now. All teams that play in the Winter Olympics and do stuff like that. So it's gonna be interesting come February, but hopefully, it'll kind of go back down in its wave by February. I think they're gonna really push it. and I think they're going to try their absolute hardest to make sure that this happens because of how much money it probably will bring in. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, Alex, how about you? Do you think there's any hope left for our Olympics?
Yeah, I think that there's a pretty good chance that it's going to happen. I think the players want it to happen, more so than maybe the league owners do, but the players definitely want to go. I think that they have team support for the most part. Gary Bettman seems pretty set on wanting them to go as long as things are okay. And I would imagine, I don't off the top of my head know the protocols, but I think that if a player is vaccinated in the NHL, they don't have to do the regular testing the same way, which unless they come into contact, obviously. But I think that's going to be something that maybe the Olympic Committee is going to say we're doing daily testing like 3 weeks out up until the Olympics. And if you're, if you test negative, then like you're not, you have to quarantine and stuff. So I would imagine
Positive.
if they go, yeah, sorry, positive. I would imagine if it happens, it's going to be under some pretty strict guidelines at this point. I don't think it's going to be free and loose as far as
we could do
letting
the
players
bubble
go.
again.
Yeah, we may see something like that. We may see where they have to show up, and I don't know how that fits into the schedule that the NHL has carved out. They may have to, if they do that, we may see the NHL opt out.
Yeah, what is even travel like? Like
I don't
especially
know.
from to Beijing from like the Czech and Austria where they're all locked down like
Yeah, I don't know.
in two
Well, and I
months.
don't
Who
know what the
knows?
schedule looks like as far as how much time the NHL has carved out between like the last game played and when the first Olympic men's event happens. I don't know how much time is in between. I
Yeah.
would assume there's enough to encompass at least like a 3 or 4 day quarantine because I don't know what restrictions China has as far as that goes either. Everybody's different. All of these different countries are doing things differently. And like you said, like straight up just travel from within Europe might be
Or
difficult
coming
right now.
back. Yeah.
Right. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see.
Yeah, it's frustrating because it's something we were looking forward to, and we are all looking forward to normalcy with a full hockey season, and we have the All-Star game and the Olympics, obviously. So I guess we'll find out. But I feel like if everyone is vaccinated, like every single player participating in the Olympics is vaccinated, which I'm assuming is going to be a requirement. Like you said, the bubble system on top of vaccination, in my opinion, that should be enough to allow it to continue forward. But it's going to be the league's call. And I saw that the NHL suspended all like community activities and autograph signings and all that type of community outreach. They've suspended all of that immediately until further notice. So we're already back to players not having that contact with fans or that personal touch. So I mean, it sucks, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So hopefully it's kind of getting all out of the system now. Hopefully players will. I hate to say it, but if they're gonna catch it, hopefully they catch it now, and then we kind of build that immunity. Hopefully everyone's okay. Hopefully it kind of just does a little run through, and then that's it. Hopefully everyone's healthy.
Yeah,
So
I really want to see Canada score 50 goals on Beijing, on China.
with those shitty jerseys.
Oh my God, I don't even want to talk about those.
Yeah.
The
So
Both.
USA jersey teaser looked so good, and I was like, "What are those?"
They're literally
yes,
soccer jerseys.
speaking on that, apparently the reason that the Canadian jerseys that we always typically see with like the IIHF versus the Olympic jerseys, it's because the IIHF is technically its own independent like organization, and they're not legally allowed to use like the Hockey Canada logo is the one that has like the player skating inside of the maple leaf, and that's a great logo. Why don't they use that? They're legally not able to. Same thing with the USA that has the American flag like on the S. They can't use that either. So I guess they were trying to do some different stuff, but it's bad. It's all
I'll let it
bad.
It's
slide.
literally 3 letters, America. Put it in any good font.
Yeah.
Comic Sans.
Yeah. Put it in Wingdings, please.
Yeah, so those jerseys suck, just like the New Jersey Devils jersey that we discussed. So
And the Nashville
I
Predators
don't,
jersey.
yes, I was gonna say I don't know what's going on with jerseys this year. That Smashville Stadium Series jersey is absolute garbage, but I loved, and I hate to say this, but I love that Lightning jersey that says bolts, like the color scheme, the design where like the lettering looks like it has like a lightning bolt on it. It's perfect.
I hate it.
Chef's kiss.
I
You
hate it.
hate it?
Yeah, I hate the bottom. It looks terrible.
Well, I feel
The
like
blue like it looks like someone's like 8-year-old daughter used those like scissors that have those designs on them to like cut out the bottom of the friggin' jersey. I hate it.
I loved those scissors as a kid.
I
The
know.
the Bolts jersey, the bottom of it reminds me of the old iceberg pads that Jimmy Howard used to have way back in the day. It was red pads and he had like the white iceberg like cutouts and stuff
Yeah,
on them. And that's exactly what it reminds me of, and I love it. It's very like
I love
90s.
it. Yeah.
I don't like
Well, that's what those jerseys are supposed to have, a vintage feel. So the thing that bothers me most about the Predators is how Smashville, the S's are two different fonts. Just like
Yeah.
we said with the New Jersey Devils jersey, how does that pass through so many people
They
and
did
you
that on
come to that
purpose.
conclusion and you're like, this is it?
They did that on purpose. I was reading into it a little bit because I was curious. I was like, this seems like a too much of an oversight as opposed to like New Jersey's was just them being dumb with it. Like this was an oversight. What apparently happened is there's an old printing press in Nashville that was always used for all of the like the music flyers and stuff because obviously it's the music city. There's a whole bunch of bands that play everywhere every single night, so they always have flyers. And this one printing press, since forever ago, was always the go-to place to print those out. That was like the company that did it, and that was their thing. Is they used like the kind of like this serial killer, like cutting out of magazines, like different sized letters and stuff. They did that kind of style for the lettering. So that was like their
Oh,
aesthetic was bringing that into the jersey, but instead it makes it look like the McDonald's dip cups instead. So
thank you for educating us, Alex, because that was irking me. And I even had someone in my Twitter replies, he nailed it. And he said he didn't know though why, but he said it looks like when you cut out magazine letters for a project.
yeah, no, it
So I
really
guess
does.
they succeeded in going for that. But if you don't know
it
that
looks
that's the purpose
terrible.
behind it, you're like, what?
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, because I feel like if the letters were smaller and it all fit into that box in the center with the logo they have, I feel like it would have been perfect. It would have looked clean. The colors are nice because I love that they went with the blue rather than the disgusting mustard yellow or whatever you want to call that. I
Yeah.
don't even what yellow that's called, but I think the Predators have one of the worst jerseys in the league. So I would just like their regular home jerseys. So I was glad they went with the blue. I would love to see them bring those blue ones back with like the silver.
Yes, with the crack predator on it, the cracked out
Yeah,
Yeah,
one that's
the
kind of
white
jumping out.
predator. Yeah.
Yeah,
the crack predator.
yeah. That's what I saw somebody call it. I don't actually know what like the fan base refers to it as, but that's what I saw. Like
It's
some,
okay. Yeah, I
some
think that's it because like Bruins have meth bear, or some
yeah,
call it crack bear, like the '90s bear. So
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, I guess it makes more sense now, but the Bolts definitely nailed it. So that's good. But we will move on to our next topic. We will move on to the New York Islanders. Guys, what the hell is this Islanders franchise? What have they turned into, especially after their run last year? Like, they had a horrible start on the road. We all know they were waiting for their new USB arena to be ready, but they just lost tonight 3-2 in a shootout against the Blackhawks. And the Islanders are now 0-8-3 in their last 11 games. This is the fifth time that an Isles team has gone 11 straight with a loss of any kind, while there have only been six longer officially recognized winless streaks in New York Islanders history. So they are just like, I don't know. They were a cup favorite again this year. I mean, I
They
don't
have
know.
still yet to win at UBS Arena.
Yeah.
They have
Yep.
not won a game at their own new stadium.
Did I say USB
Y-
arena?
You did. I was wondering if you did that on purpose.
That's okay.
No. UBS.
Well,
Guys,
maybe
we're
that.
recording this
Yeah.
at like 11:30 p.m., so you'll have to forgive
Maybe
me.
they gotta unplug it and flip it the other way because
Yeah, unplug it and plug it back in.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
UBS.
not working for them.
They're playing more like a floppy disk team
Yeah,
right now, to be
they
honest.
did not eject properly and all their information is lost.
Yeah.
There we go. We saved you, Kaylee.
You know what? I think I just started a trend right now because yeah, they
Yeah.
need to unplug it and plug it back in
Yeah.
that USB. So a correction, UBS. Yes. So they have lost 11 straight. Guys, what do we think's the issue? Does anyone have a solution to the Islanders? What do you think? Is this
Zdeno Chara. Get rid of him. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know, man. I have no idea. Like, I thought we all thought they were going to be good. We all agreed that they were in the Metro, especially. They were one of the strongest teams. You know, Varlamov, great goalie, but I don't know. He just can't. I don't know. That's what I gotta say. I don't know.
Who knew that losing Jordan Eberle was going to be this catastrophic to the Islanders, but also at the same time not really a game changer for Seattle? Like, I don't know what's going on. Barry Trotz's no offense scheme is suddenly starting to bite them in the ass because through this last 11 games, they've scored more than 2 goals once. It was against the Red Wings, and they still lost. So, like, they're not scoring goals at all. They're getting absolutely no goal support. So, yeah, Varlamov is actually playing pretty well. This is not on him.
Well, yeah, it looks bad. His goals against average is 3.47.
Yeah, he's getting lit up.
Yeah.
And
But
was it
you,
Sorokin?
but you know, as
the
as
other?
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, Sorokin and Varlamov.
I mean, neither of them are playing necessarily like horribly.
Yeah.
They're just getting torched.
I mean, I want to say it's their defense, but like you said, they're not getting goals either. So what, like, I don't know. Do they need a coaching change? Like, is the system not working? I mean, their defense doesn't jump out at me very much. I mean, they have Aho. We know Chara's past his prime, love him to death, but I don't understand the pickup or I wish he retired a Bruin, of course, but that's more sentimental. Yeah, they have Scott Mayfield. I mean, I don't see anyone in the defense that really stands out, but it's also not terrible and it's also the offense. So I like you said, Eberle was detrimental to the Islanders, but not very beneficial for the Kraken. So it's
They
just super.
also they also have what is it? Pellick and Pollock.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
line. That line's good. And
Yeah, their defense on paper should be pretty good.
like
They lost to Nicoletti, but
last
mean,
year against the Bruins, they shut us down. They
yeah.
really did. They kicked our asses, and even their forwards, like the constantly hit you until you bleed and to tire down. Like that worked so well, and they figured it out. And I don't know what they changed. I don't like they kept the same strategy, but I don't know if teams are just like, oh, this is what we have to do now, or they're just, I don't know. You know, it's hard. Like you keep the majority of the pieces you have. Like not much has changed, and they're just terrible. Like back to true Islanders form. Honestly, the Islanders were looking good for a few years, but let's not forget for like what since like '88 when they won those 4 in a row, they were terrible for like 20 years. So
Yeah, they what was it, 25 years without a playoff series win until Tavares scored that overtime goal or whatever against the Panthers.
and then they traded him,
Yep.
Scott Mayfield
and
is a -12.
he has more wins in USB Arena than the
US.
Islanders do.
Yeah, guys, Scott Mayfield's a -12. I know he said plus minus isn't exactly like a telltale sign, but I just saw that and I was like, what?
It's a team
It's
stat. I mean, the entire
yeah,
team
it is,
cooked.
but it just made me laugh because it's all like single digits and then you just see -12.
Yeah.
But yeah, also like even Barzell, like he only has 11 points in 19 games. I mean, it's not terrible, but like that's your superstar. And to put it into perspective, Brock Nelson also has 11 points. So it's like, what is the disconnect
Hey,
there?
the
Like,
Bruins won that draft lottery.
their points, I'm going through their points right now. It's absolutely atrocious. Like, their team leaders are Brock Nelson and Barzell. And then after that, you have Oliver Wahlstrom with 7 points. He has 7 goals, no assists. Then you have Bouvillier with 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. So, like, you have guys that we're in December and you have guys on your points with no more guys on your team with no more than 11 points.
But can I just say, Oliver Wahlstrom had 2 goals the other night against the Red Wings. The fact that he's got 7 goals and 0 assists, that is a true hockey player right there. I
That is
love
selfish
that.
hockey right there.
I love that. Shoot the puck. 100%. I love it.
Yeah. And Cizikas, one of their big guys, has 1 assist this year.
That's tough.
He's played 16 games and he has 1 assist.
It just goes to show what
Cizikas.
homelessness does to a person.
And homelessness in America.
Yeah.
Bring back the Coliseum. This is like like Islanders fans, like, things were finally looking up for them. Like last year, you know, they almost beat the Lightning, which amazing team, good for them. They beat the Bruins also. I was so frustrated losing to them. And I was like, wow, like, and I was cheering for the Islanders. I didn't want Tampa to win again. I was like, sure, like, go Isles. And Islanders fans think they're going to get back into the swing of things and making a cup final maybe. And they
Beautiful
had the new
new
arena
arena.
coming. And now they're the laughing stock. And I know multiple people that had them as a cup favorite. So it's like, I don't know where they go next. I don't know if coaching needs a change. I mean, Barry Trotz, I don't know if he needs to go at this point. I don't know how strict the front office is going to be, if they're going to say, all right, you're done. But also, like you said, how are you going to blame him when your offense just doesn't score? So I don't know. The Islanders are a mystery, but I'm kind of okay with it.
Me too.
Because I'm still salty from last year.
Yeah, it makes your guys' life easier in the playoffs.
Yeah, the right New York team is doing good this year.
Rangers are nasty, and
Yeah.
I said it from the beginning.
They're
and people
wagon.
laughed at me.
They're a wagon.
I got laughed at. Before the season started, I did multiple podcasts and I talked about it with people, and they're like, you know, who's your sleeper team? Who's gonna be good this year? I said Rangers, 100%. I was like, some of the best goaltending, one of the best rosters, best players, good coach. It was like, it's a no-brainer. So, yeah, my Rangers are nasty.
All right, don't say my Rangers. They literally went to
my sleeper team.
We literally went to go see them and they beat the Bruins. So
I can still admit they're nasty.
I know, but you can't like them.
Why not? Why can't I like and appreciate a good team?
You can't like a New York team and a Boston team.
Oh yeah, shut up, buddy.
As I cover my
We're
jersey.
a little past that. Yeah. So speaking of coaching and Barry Trotz and some necessary changes, the Canucks have some new hires as of today. They have hired Bruce Boudreau. I'm sure you guys have heard that name before, as head coach. Jim Benning and John Wiesbrod are out as the GM. And so we have the Sedins taking over in a front office position. So the existing management is still there, right? The existing group is taking over.
Yeah, so it's like the upper group, like the hockey ops group. So the GM and the assistant GM are out, but the president of hockey ops, the player development, that team is still there, and they're gonna basically do. This is all officially unconfirmed still, but multiple sources have been discussing that these are the changes that they've made. So as of right now, this isn't 100% official because the team hasn't confirmed it, but this is what multiple sources are hearing. It is not per Darren. Is per.
So we're giving false information.
Is per Irfan Ghaffar out of Vancouver. So
pretty legit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Canucks fans wanted Jim Benning out. So I guess we'll see if that is going to solve the Canucks woes. the Bruins beat the Canucks the other night, and I was happy about it. But the Canucks haven't been the same since that Stanley Cup final in 2011. So I don't know if the Bruins single-handedly destroyed their franchise, but do you guys
And
have
their city.
any? No, they destroyed their own
Yeah,
city.
fair.
But do you guys have any idea? Like, do you guys have any opinion on what the Canucks need to do? What we think is wrong with them? Do you think they need to make some trades? Do either of you have any input on how they've been doing so far?
Yes. Um, Everything that Jim Benning did needs to not be the case. It needs to just be erased. Oliver Ekman-Larsson sucks, and that contract is awful. I will say the value that he gave Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson was good, except Elias Pettersson's not playing well at all. The team in general is just not playing well, which doesn't help. Like the guys that you expect to be playing well are not. Um, but structurally, this team looks bad. It's got cap issues when it should not. It is not a good enough team to be having cap issues. And I'm pretty sad that Jim Benning's gone because I would have liked to see what Yzerman could have gotten out of him for free. Um, but that's likely not going to be the case. I don't know. We'll probably see some heads roll. Some of the things that they did as far as like picking up Connor Garland, that was pretty good for them. I think they ended up on the good side of that, but I don't know. Jim Benning did nothing for them. He was there for what, like 8 years or whatever, and he did nothing for them. It's bad, just so bad.
Yeah, and their goaltending duo isn't that bad. I mean, they have Thatcher Demko and Yaroslav Halak. Um, Halak is 36, and he has always been good enough to have at least a starting position up until maybe now. But their goaltending duo isn't that bad. I mean, Demko has a .908 save percentage. Halak has a .910. Their goals against 2.97 and 2.85. So not awful. But again, I think it is offensive woes a little bit. Definitely better than the Islanders. But their leading points guy is JT Miller. He has 23 points, 8 goals, 15 assists. Quinn Hughes is just below him with 20 points, 2 goals, 18 assists. And then you have Connor Garland at 18 points, and he has 7 goals, 11 assists. And then Bo Horvat has 13. Pettersson is 12. So, I mean, not great for the type of players they do have and the big names that they have. And OEL went from like a hot commodity to just being a total dud in Vancouver, which is crazy. And he was definitely in talks to be a possible future Bruin, and I'm kind of glad they didn't go that way. If anything, I feel like the new management is going to do them wonders because this team is being severely mismanaged, like you said, especially with these types of names on the roster. So I feel like this is their solution, and I guess we'll find out very soon. But Cam, do you have any input on the Canucks?
All I have to say is if you're going to bring the Sedins into this, I just have to say the Sedin sisters, that stands for two girls, no cup.
Oh my
That's
God.
all I got to say.
That was great.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Holding grudges. Well, not grudges, but bringing up shit from 2011.
The hard-hitting
Back when people
facts.
used to bring those signs to the game and
Yeah.
make shirts.
Two girls, no cup.
Yes. Thank you, Cam, for that hard hitting analysis.
I got you.
But we will move on to our next topic of Jake DeBrusk. So it's no secret that Jake DeBrusk has requested a trade out of Boston. He has not been happy for a while, and Bruins coaching has also not been happy with him, doesn't give him enough minutes. Don't really think they believe in him. Fans are very harsh on him. After the trade was requested, he was being booed on the ice every time he touched the puck, which I think is ridiculous. I will elaborate on that. But one of the main reasons DeBrusk wants out is because I know he was getting a lot of hate from the fans and just did not feel comfortable, and he did not feel like he was getting as much time as he should, which I completely understand. You do have to look out for yourself, and if you feel you're being treated unfairly, I totally believe you should be able to request a trade and be in a better environment. And I think it's pretty shitty that Bruins fans were booing him, you know, a guy that's tried his best with what he's been given. So if you're going to boo that guy for just genuinely wanting out and wanting better for himself, I think that's pretty sad. So I know there's been some teams that are interested. I would be very interested to see if he would go home to Edmonton. That's I can't imagine how sick that would be, DeBrusk on the Oilers. I think he would be a good addition for them. But yeah, where do you guys have any idea where you think he should go, where you think he'll be a good fit, or what the Bruins can get for him? I will say I wish the Bruins could get Hurdle from the Sharks for him. That would probably require giving up DeBrusk, Jackson Nika, and maybe a first rounder. But I think that's worth it to get a really good center, especially with Krejci being gone. So I was really hoping that instead of going for defense, the Bruins defense actually hasn't been atrocious. So I was really worried about that. I was like, we need D more than anything. We need defense. This is going to be terrible. But I would say that I would love to see them go for Hurdle. I don't know if that's possible. That's just me playing GM and saying what I would do if I were Don Sweeney. But Sweeney does not like to do things that are logical. So, Cam, what do you think about the whole DeBrusk thing? Do you think he should be booed? Where do you think he should go? Are you glad he's going?
So first, yeah, I don't know if he's gonna go anywhere. Like I know that around the trade deadline, obviously the Bruins are gonna be open for discussion. Don't know if we're gonna get anything good for him because in my opinion he's underperformed almost at every single season.
And his trade value is at a low right now.
I know he scored that goal and his trade value went up maybe a little bit, but like all like I kind of believe you got to earn your minutes. Like I understand that they don't play him as much and I understand you can only do so much in a certain amount of time, but the reason why like these players aren't getting these minutes is because when you put them on the ice, they're not scoring. And we could only play the first line so much. And recently, this year specifically, we've actually been getting a lot of secondary scoring. Like you look at the goal sheets, you're not seeing Pasternak, Bergeron, Marchand all the time. That was maybe in the first few games, but like we're getting some pretty good secondary scoring from our players. And I know Jake DeBrusk scored like what last not last game against the Lightning, but against the Predators, I think he scored.
Yes.
Yeah, but like last against the Lightning, Coyle and Lazar both scored. Coyle's seventh goal of the game of the season, Lazar's first of the season, but still, that's still pretty good. And then we had DeBrusk and Carlo score against the Predators, more secondary scoring, like, and DeBrusk has what? Let me look. 4 goals. It's not bad, I guess. Obviously, 4 goals. He has done okay, but the Bruins want him to score more. They want him to shoot more. They want him to, in my opinion, like his teammates give him the puck, and he just like blows it away. Like he can't get a goal to save his life. Like he's either at the crossbar, fans on it, shoots it right into the chest. Like I don't know. When I see him play, like Alex loves to say, he's all Swedish and he has no finish.
Nailed it.
Good one.
I'd love to hear a non-Bruins fan input on this, Alex.
I was just taking a look at some of his underlying analytics on Natural Stat Trick because I was very curious to see. I think one of the biggest things that can hinder a good player is deployment with some anchors, players that just aren't going to help them. The Red Wings are pretty notorious of doing this with a lot of their younger players, Lucas Raymond aside. They'll take a guy who is pretty skilled, and I would think, there's pretty much no argument that Jake DeBrusk is a high skill guy. He's somebody who has the capability of scoring. He scored 27 goals like 2 seasons ago. Like, he can score. But you put him with players who can't get the puck to him efficiently, or who can't receive passes, or in situations where you can't get out of your own zone and you're just kind of hemmed in and your shift is over. It seems like the bit of Bruins games that I have watched, and the bit of Jake DeBrusk that I've watched, it seems like he's been kind of a victim of that. And you'll see that there's a specific stat that's interesting to look at. At 5v5, there's basically, it's an involvement percentage. So anytime the player's on the ice and a goal is scored, this percentage calculates, what's the percentage of times that he's been involved in the points of that, either the goal, the first assist, or the secondary assist. At 5v5, he's ahead of, let me make sure I sort this right. He is ahead of David Pastrnak, Patrice Bergeron, Charlie Coyle, Taylor Hall, Charlie McAvoy. I guess McAvoy being a defenseman, but he's got a lot of points. He's getting involved in the play on the scoring plays more often than these guys, and even at all strengths. And he doesn't play a whole lot of power play time because that first power play unit is insane. And why would he play as much when that power play unit is doing all of the heavy lifting? He's still above Bergeron and Pastrnak and Coyle and Hall and all of these guys who still get the points. So it's interesting to see. I think a lot of it comes down to deployment. You put him with better players, he's going to play well. And obviously that's the case for a lot of people, but not everybody scores almost 30 goals. There have been plenty of people that have played in the past, like with David Krejci, who didn't score almost 30 goals. He did. He's clearly skilled enough to be able to do it. I think he just needs to be given the opportunity. So I think if he wants a trade and if it can work for both teams, if he's on the second line somewhere, he could probably put up pretty close to 30 goals.
I mean, yeah, like you said, though, he was on the second line in 2018, 2019 with Krejci. And that's right. And I know not everyone can do that. And I'm not saying DeBrusk is bad. I do love the kid, and I want him to be good. I don't think, I hated Danton Heinen when he was on the team. I was like, get this kid off our team. I like DeBrusk a lot, and I think he's good. But, you can only give him so much time, on the second line before you got to try someone else out. Our second line's pretty solid now with, Coyle, Hall, and Smith. And with Hall, Krejci, and Smith, that was friggin' that was a first line, essentially, as our second line. So, yeah, DeBrusk isn't going to play second line minutes with those three guys, or with our top six. He's not a top six player, especially because he's been underperforming. But, in 2018, 2019, he was with Krejci, and he had David Backes, but, he could have learned a lot from Backes, and then the next season, he did not good. What was it? Let me look. 2019 to 2020, he had 65 games, 35 points. 41 games, 14 points. Once you start to play bad, you're going to go down the line, and then it's, I don't know. You got to bounce back.
Yeah.
Maybe he's bouncing back this year.
That's where my question of, which came first. Was he dropped down to the third line because other players were added to the team?
I was just about to say, what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's you could say.
It really depends, because I think a lot of times, especially with younger players, they're thrown into positions where they're scoring well on a second line situation, and they go down and they play with guys who may need a little bit more help. They need better players down there, and even though they're a play driver themselves, because it seems like from the wing, he seems to be a pretty decent play driver. But if he's with teammates that aren't capable of keeping up with that, then there's only so much that one player can do. So it depends one way or the other.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but he's definitely going to be like that ex that you see thriving with someone else. And I mean, not that I hate to say it. I hate to say it for the Bruins because I wish he was successful here. But any team is going to be lucky to have him if he can be a top 6 guy. So I definitely agree with everything you guys said, and I really hope the best for him because he does seem like a great guy. He has tried, he hasn't gotten the minutes he wants, and therefore he hasn't excelled. Cam, like you said, he's kind of gone down. So therefore, everything has a consequence, and that's what the Bruins feel like they need to do. So I wish all the best for DeBrusk, and I'm sure he will be happy in a new place with some new coaching and some new faces. But
we better get something good for him.
We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Depends. Like I said, his value and what Sweeney can do. So
let's get a second line guy. For him.
I said Hurdle.
I know. I'm just saying.
You don't listen to me.
I heard. I'm just some other people too.
So we will move on to our segments for today. So for history, there's actually a lot that happened today, December 5th. On this date in history, 1986, Wayne Gretzky became the 5th player in the NHL history with 1,400 points when he had 3 assists and the Edmonton Oilers' 4-2 victory against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And this was when he was only 25 years old. So, absolute beast. More moments in 1939. I know you guys remember this.
I think it was at that game.
Same, actually. Eddie Shore played his final game as a member of the Boston Bruins and scored the winning goal in a 2-1 victory against the New York Americans at Boston Garden. The defenseman, a 4-time Hart Trophy winner, is traded to the Americans on January 25th, 1940, retires at the end of the season, and is inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1947. What a legend. And then in 1968, Tony Esposito makes his first NHL start when the Montreal Canadiens face the Bruins at Boston Garden and finishes with 33 saves in a 2-2 tie. Can you imagine if we had ties?
No.
I don't like it.
I'd lose my mind.
What is it, sucker?
The only Boston player to beat the rookie goalie is his older brother, Phil Esposito, opens the scoring in the first period and ties the game midway through the third. Tony Esposito plays 13 games with Montreal before it being taken by the Chicago Blackhawks in the interleague draft on June 11th, 1969. So those are my interesting history tidbits for today. And we will move on to Cam's betting.
Yeah, well, speaking of soccer's a low-scoring game. And you know what else is a low-scoring game? When the Senators and the Devils play each other. That's going to be a low-scoring game. They have the under and over on that game. Actually, they have it at 6. And a normal hockey under over is 5.5. That's like the baseline. If they're two defensive powerhouses, it'll be 5. If they're both offensive, they usually be 6 or 6.5. But for some reason, the Senators and the Devils have it at over 6. And I mean, pound the under, in my opinion. I really do think that it's going to be like a 3-2. I mean, worst case scenario, it's going to be like a 4-2 score, and it's going it'll push if you bet the under, or the over, obviously. But I really think it's going to be like a 3-1 or a 2-0 or something like that. There's been a lot of high scoring games these past few weeks just throughout the NHL. I've been noticing, like, I think the Lightning just won 7-1, which is like ridiculous. Oh, sorry. Or was that? When was that? Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they just scored 7 today.
Yeah, 7-1, and then like 6-3, 5-1, 4-6. Like, there's been high scoring games, but this game will not be one of them. So, yeah. Bet the under on the Devils and Senators game, but don't take my advice.
Is that all you had, Cam?
That's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Cam. So we'll move on to Alex Analytics. I can't wait to hear what he has for us. Our little J Fresh. He hates when
That's
I
offensive.
say that.
Not offensive, but.
Why is that offensive?
He's his own person.
Okay, sorry. Our Alex Fresh.
Thank you.
Much better.
Yeah, that's gonna be my
That's
new
literally a
handle.
compliment. I'm saying you're like our little analytics. Whatever. I won't compliment you ever again.
I'm changing. I didn't even say anything. I'm changing my handle to
He
A
rolled his
Fresh
eyes at
Hockey.
me.
Yeah, well. So first off, I have to do my obligatory brag about the Red Wings rookies. Moritz Seider did something that Bobby Orr never could. He became the 5th rookie defenseman all time with multiple overtime goals in a single season. You know who else is on that list? Brent Seabrook, Cam Fowler, PK Sluban, and Shane Gostisbehere. So that's honestly pretty good company to have as far as defensemen who are known to be more offensive, but that was never slated to be part of Seider's game. So the fact that he's putting up the points that he is when that's not his game, and he's also just a defensive stalwart, insane. Lucas Raymond also still scores lots of goals, lots of points. Sorry, Trevor Zegras, you're not going to catch him. Sorry, Dawson Mercer, you're not going to catch him. Sorry, everybody else. Not going to happen. Moving on to actual analytics, though. Igor Shesterkin continues to be an absolutely insane goalie. Jack Campbell for Toronto is doing pretty well himself. Jacob Markstrom in Calgary doing great. And Tristan Jarry having himself a great bounce-back season after really struggling last year. It's nice to see that he's putting it together for the Penguins. If you're a Penguins fan, you're feeling pretty decent in net, unless you're looking at Casey DeSmith. Not as good. Philip Grubauer still sucking it up. Carter Hutton still sucking it up. Jonas Korpisalo, that's an interesting name that you wouldn't imagine is playing poorly in net. Usually Columbus's goalies are performing pretty well, but Jonas Korpisalo is having himself a pretty tough season right now. Goals scored above expected. Toronto, what's up? You're not in last place anymore in that. The Penguins got you beat. You're doing well in second to last now. You're moving your way up, only to be bested by the New York Islanders, who clearly are not doing well. Edmonton is doing pretty well. The Capitals are doing pretty well. The Wild are killing it. They're playing amazing. Kirill Kaprizov continues to be absolutely exceptional. Goal differential above expected, kind of the same group. There's not too many that are overperforming in one category and underperforming in another. The goal differential, though, Vegas is actually starting to step it up. Vegas is looking really, really well in their goal differential area. They just really need to get their overall goal scoring up. And hopefully Jack Eichel, like we talked about earlier, can help them out for that. 5v5 expected goals against. Bruins leading the way, 1.9 at 5v5. That's not bad. The Flyers are really struggling, though. They're hovering around 3, and so is Vegas. So Vegas's defense seems to be their biggest point of contention right now. I think a lot of that comes from their forward group is really not giving them the support that they need on the back end. Mark Stone's kind of struggling himself, I think, right now, and that's typically his game, is being able to be the two-way guy. Special teams differential percentage, Edmonton's freaking insane still. I mean, they continue to be just absolutely a powerhouse on the power play. I mean, I don't know how you would ever be able to stop McDavid and Draisaitl.
Power play merchants.
Yeah, Draisaitl's literally on pace for like 77 goals or something absolutely stupid. And I don't know how this is happening. The Calgary Flames also doing really well. The Bruins and the Ducks and the Leafs all doing really well. Obviously, the bad teams are doing bad. So you've got Vancouver, the Devils, the Islanders, the Canadiens, and Arizona are all playing pretty poorly in that respect. That's pretty much all I got for you.
Well,
Thank you, Alex.
Let me just say on the Penguins, it doesn't really matter how good they're doing because the Fenway Group that owns, the Red Sox, they just bought them out, and they're just going to turn them into the Bruins too. So it doesn't really matter what the Penguins do. That's all I want to say.
Crosby to Boston. You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's our second line right there.
If you listen this far, you just got exclusive information that Crosby will be a Pittsburgh Penguin.
The trade is 1-for-1. Jake DeBrusk for Sidney Crosby. Who says no?
Yeah, who says no? Not me. I say yes. All right, so that is all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening as always. Hope everyone has a wonderful week, and we will be back next week, same time, same place, with the usual crew besides me, because I will be in Las Vegas. So it's Cam and Alex next week. So I will pass the torch to them. Good luck. That's just a fair warning if you're going to be tuning in next week. So
Yeah, please.
Cam might pull
please
out the
tune in.
tinfoil hat again.
We'll see.
We'll give you a good reason to listen. Don't
Yeah.
skip this next week's.
Please.
Yeah, please don't. All right, everyone have a great night. Thanks for tuning in as always. Bye, Cam. Bye, Alex.
See ya.
Have a good night.